Hello, everyone. Once again, it hasn't been that long since I last uploaded, but I haven't made a presidential election prediction in actually quite a while. So why don't I just do it now? Because why not? And it's 3 weeks away from the election, exactly. So why not just get it done with and see how badly my predictions age? Who's with me on this? Hey. Anyway, okay. Ignore my unprofessionalism and let's get started. So, pretty much the election is going to be focused on Nevada, Arizona, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and North Carolina. But really, the election will come down to Pennsylvania, I feel like. It's the biggest swing state in terms of electoral votes. And like Trump, Trump needs Pennsylvania to win. Kamala needs Pennsylvania to win. Well, yeah, Trump's most likely path of victory is winning Pennsylvania. So, without further ado, let's start the video again. So, first I'm going to mark Kamala Harris and Tim Walz safe states. These are states that will be for 15% or more for either party. And I believe will be Washington, Oregon, California, Colorado, Hawaii, Illinois, New York, Vermont, Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland. Oh, I got the state right. Let's go. DC, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts, as well as Maine second. No, Maine's first congressional district. I think Colorado, this was a, like, let's just get there. So 538 has Harris winning by 12. I think she'll win by more than 12, just because Biden won it by about 13, and he gained in the state by at least 8 points. And even into the 2022 Senate race, we had a so-called really good candidate, Joe Dea, and he underperformed Donald Trump of all people in the state. And then governor's race didn't get much better for Republicans. They actually lost by even more. They lost by almost 20. Republicans couldn't even crack 40% of the vote. So I feel like this would be a good, like, I think we're going to move it to safe. Republicans, Utah, Montana, Idaho, West Virginia, North and South Dakota, Nebraska's third congressional district, Nebraska at large, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, West Virginia. Yeah, I'll get to the rest of them later, which is the point of the video. So for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz likely states, these are going to be states within 5 to 15 points, and they're quote unquote battlegrounds. But realistically speaking, like if we go back to like forecast, on average, they have about a 75% chance of winning. That's yeah, this is weird. You get the point. So I think for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, their likely states will be in New Mexico, Minnesota, Virginia, Maine at large, Nebraska's second congressional district, and New Hampshire. New Mexico, not much to say. It was a Biden plus 10 state. It could, if in a really good case for Republicans, it could go down to lean if Harris just is really bad with the Hispanic vote. Because I do believe New Mexico has a majority Hispanic population, or at least really close to a majority Hispanic population. So, for Nebraska's second congressional district, it was slightly gerrymandered, but all the polls like that exist, Harris has an 85% chance to win. Like a district that voted for Romney, a district that voted for Trump 2016. But when it went to 2020, it was a Biden plus almost seven district. So it swung like a huge amount. I think at least like 10. I could be wrong. We can check. Okay, it swung by 8, which actually isn't as much as I thought it would swing by. Maybe even do as good as I thought. Minnesota, Tim Walz on the ticket. I think that's really going to help. Harris, her best bet's to get a bunch of the black vote to turn out in Minneapolis. It swung towards Biden, but that was in the like year of George Floyd and the BLM protests. I do think Harris will do a bit better in Minnesota though. And then Maine at large, not much to say. New Hampshire, I think she'll expand on Biden's margin in New Hampshire just because I think it's shifted away from Trump enough. Especially there's no Sununu on the ticket anymore, so that like any boost he could have gotten from that, that's not happening. I do believe he did retire, or he's term limited, or both. Um, yeah, pretty much that's it for Republicans. I think the state of Alaska, Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, Nebraska second. No, Nebraska's first. Ohio, South Carolina, Maine at large, and I'm gonna hesitate, but if we take a look at poll, yes, they have a polling averages. I'm very happy about that. I think Texas, that's a Senate race, not a presidential race. I'm stupid. Trump's up in Florida by a good amount, and he's also up in Texas by Republicans are up in Texas by like almost seven. Like you can see down ballot trickle, but I don't think that much down ballot trickle will happen. And I think Trump he will run up the margins in Hispanic Texas and the RGV just because Harris she is losing ground in the Hispanic vote. And I think Trump can flip Tarrant County in a best case scenario with him. Maybe Williamson County, but I think Tarrant County, if he flips it, he's probably winning the state by at least six. So I think Texas and I really hesitated on this, but I think Florida, I think the two hurricanes probably have a bigger impact. And I think Trump can get my if Trump gets Miami-Dade County within five, he's probably winning the state by like seven. He's if he runs up the margins in all these places like Palm Beach County, Broward, and then Miami-Dade, he even if he loses more ground in the rest of the like state, I think if he gains enough, because those counties are a huge part of the state, I think that would be enough. So anyway, these seven states, we all expected these seven states will be the pretty much like battlegrounds of the election. And let's start with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz's lean states. These states will be within 5 to 1%. And I think these states, there are going to be two, in my opinion, Nevada and Michigan. So I want to start with Nevada. Polls in Nevada historically underestimate Democrats, and Harris has a .7 lead. And Trump was projected to win in 2016 the state of Nevada. And if you take a look at even RCP, I don't know what they're on about. Polls, I guess. Can I even find it? Is Nevada even on here? Okay, well, that's not ideal. Really. We can take a okay, here it is. Nevada, Trump's actually up by .5 in Nevada, but in 2016, like Clinton was supposed to lose Nevada at the end. It won't let me open it, but you can take my word for it. But yeah, like even this time, she was only projected to win by 1.6, and she won by 2.4. Biden actually stayed on target RCP for 2020, but and we can take a look at 2020. 558, they did have Biden up by that much. But if you take a look at the Senate polls, I think there will be a trickle-down ballot effect. I do believe they have Senate polls. If they wouldn't, it would surprise me. Okay, Jackie Rosen's up by 9 points. Even Trafalgar, a Republican leading pollster, has it up by four. And Sam Brown can't do better than 43%. What does that say about Nevada? It's not. This is Republican full gold state. Republicans always think, oh, we're gonna win Nevada. Oh, we're gonna win Nevada. They didn't win Nevada. They only won Nevada in the governorship because Joe Lombardo ran up the margins in Clark County, which I could see Trump doing better by like a point in Clark County. Like he brought it down by 2 points, but he also did lose Washoe by a bit. He could win Nevada if he gets Clark County down by at least 2 more points, but for now, I think Harris will win it by at least one. And in Michigan, I think the Arab vote might there was a poll with the Arab vote. Most of them are voting for the Green Party, and Trump had only losing the Arab vote. Either Trump was losing or winning the Arab vote by six. But if Trump's winning the Arab vote by six, that's not a good sign for Kamala. Like I feel like Western Michigan is trending more Democrat. Trump probably he might do better with like black men in the Detroit like metro area, but I do think Kamala will be able to bring out more black turnout, and I think that will be enough to narrow down on Biden's margin. But I think she'll do pretty well in Michigan. And so now these states, actually, let's do lean Republican states. I think Georgia, the way Georgia is right now, is a slightly surprise, but I think Georgia will be a lean Republican state. We've seen in the past, like it could be pretty Republican, in the governorship, especially. Yeah, Brian Kemp won by 7.5. And for context, in the previous race, he won by 1.4. So in a good year for Republicans, they can win Georgia because overall, it's not if Republicans can run good candidates in Georgia, they'll win. And I think Kamala's going to do really well with the black vote in Georgia. That's pretty much the story of this election. Kamala do good with the black vote. Like she probably, I think she'll probably do marginally better in the Atlanta metro area, but I think Republicans, they will win mostly because polls in Georgia, Trump's up by one in Georgia right now, and polls in 2020 in Georgia, historically, they're actually really accurate. They predicted the runoff election almost to a T. Like they were like 0.2% off in the runoff election. They predicted Biden to win the state. And if we take a look at RCP, Trump's up by zero point 0.7. I think we can see Trump was up by a bit more before, but I think we will see him. Yeah, you get the point. And now these four states are pretty much going to decide the election. Let's start with two Democratic states. I think Pennsylvania and Arizona will be Democratic. So let's start with Pennsylvania. I think there isn't much. There's a good amount of black population in Pennsylvania, but there is no Scranton Joe effect. So I do think he will lose a bit. But keep your eyes out for Bucks and then Erie County. Erie County, like bellwether of Pennsylvania, 2016, like 2012, in recent years, a bit more competitive. Votes has the state votes, and state votes have the country votes for the last 20 years. And I think that trend will continue. We see Bob Casey, he is losing a little ground in the Senate race, but he's still up by like 5, which polls narrowing down a little bit. RCP has came up by about 3, and which is narrowing down once again. I do think Harris is the slight favorite to win in Pennsylvania, and 538, it does think so too. Harris is up by zero point 0.8 in Pennsylvania, and in the presidential race, Wisconsin got really close. That's the thing. It's about 0.7 because the polls came out. New York Times and Siena College polls had Harris up by about 4. So, oh yes, Harris is up by zero point 0.7 in Pennsylvania because these polls came out that had Harris up. 4 polls came out that had Harris on average up by about 3.5, which pretty good for Harris. I would say I think polls are underestimating Democrats this election cycle. And with that, Kamala Harris, I think she'll win the presidency. But for two Republican states, I think Wisconsin and then North Carolina. North Carolina, it will become close. The research triangle is consistently trending Democrat. And we see Fabrizio, Donald Trump's pollster only had him up by 1. Well, Emerson also had him up by 1, and Trafalgar, a super Republican pollster, with somehow a rating of zero point 0.7. How did that poll get let into the aggregate? I don't know. Probably to balance out like poll. I don't know. Yeah. So research triangle. We can take a look at the presidential race, especially like Asheville. That's trending towards the Democrats, and Trump couldn't crack 50%. Even Romney didn't. No, Trump couldn't crack 50% in either of his election times. Even Mitt Romney did. John McCain, well, he obviously didn't, but I think he performed in line with Donald Trump and he lost the state. So what does that say? Um, so yeah, these three counties are gonna probably and then this general area right here, the Black Belt of North Carolina, I do think will shift towards Democrats with high turnout. But I think that just because of the hurricane, that's like the only reason. I think it's gonna have a bigger impact than people think it will. Like, yeah, it was a kind of failure on the administration, I would say. Wisconsin. I debated really hard about Wisconsin. Like, I could see this go like I could see it like that. But for now, I think Trump narrow favorite in Wisconsin. Right now, Wisconsin, it's the I don't need a California House district. I need a Wisconsin national race. Thank you very much, RCP. Yeah, Trump. The only state Trump's down in is Wisconsin, but three polls came out that have him as a tie, and then margin is narrowed down significantly. It used to be like 1.4, 2 points. Now it's only about zero point 0.3, which is less than what Biden won the state by. And Trump, I think he will gain like Branson and Kenosha, probably do better in the WoW counties, but Kamala will be able to bring out turnout in Milwaukee and then Madison. Republicans can win it. They have won it, but I think this will be the first time since 1988 where Wisconsin votes different than Michigan and Pennsylvania. So, and overall, like literally, I think this election will come down to Arizona and Pennsylvania. Because if Trump wins either one of these states with Wisconsin and these other two, he wins the election. So, yeah, peace out. Bye. I'm done.